This is Robert with Dark Awakenings. I wanted to make a channel that could be used as a format to be able to share my experiences and also to be able to talk about what is going on in our world. Maybe be able to help connect others who share the same experiences or are curious to know more. I wanted to debut this channel with my story. I'm really going to work on evolving the channel and also the information and content that is shared on it. Here is a narrated version of part one of my story. I thought that this would be the best way to introduce it. Everything that I am presenting is as true and accurate as I know it to be. Part 1. I was asked to tell my story. I know I will probably be criticized and doubted. That's okay. I'm grateful to be able to share this story, and for those of you who understand it or want to understand it, this is for you. I was always pushing the limits of what my reality really was, seeking the truth. Growing up, I had experiences that would be considered to be paranormal, supernatural, but what I want to focus on right now would be considered to have begun roughly around the fall of 2018 for me. I started noticing that many of the stars in the sky were not stars at all. They appeared to be some kind of possible drones or satellites. I knew very quickly that they did not want me to be aware of them at first. Whenever me, my girlfriend, or friends would focus on them, it seemed that our attention would be redirected and we would soon lose focus on them and chalk them up to being no big deal. However, every night I found myself outside in my yard looking at the stars. I started to just sit out back, telling my life story, my thoughts, and ideas to these stars. One night things definitely changed. One of my friends was over and we were watching and talking about what these strange stars could be. Over the neighborhood behind me, I realized that there was a very odd-looking helicopter that seemed to be bouncing back and forth. I asked my friend what he thought about the helicopter, and he yelled out that it was definitely not a helicopter. Then it was like it changed right before my eyes, and appeared to be some kind of small spaceship approaching rapidly in our direction. It hovered above us and beamed us with a light that left a circle imprint in my eye for weeks after this night. To fast forward a bit, I began experiencing more and more until one night they decided to come down with a small team of craft and circled me around my house. As each one approached, they seemed to show off a little with patterns and lights. I was amazed beyond belief. I learned that these were in fact small craft that are piloted by intelligent beings who are very small and merged with what would be considered to be a highly advanced and conscious artificial intelligence that is also merged with many different species. This artificial intelligence is actually much more advanced than what the definition of artificial intelligence means to human beings. I later developed the acronym LFI, or Life Force Intelligence, to properly define it to the best of my ability. I will make sure that I explain this at another time. These crafts begin to drop a type of nanotechnology that is intelligently managed by the LFI in the form of small white chips. They can merge with anything. They will enter the body and travel through the bloodstream and go throughout all of the organs. They are there to supply, upload, download, replicate genetics, and structure material as well as various forms of data and information. It was quite an experience. I could write a book just about that part of the journey alone. So much has happened. I started to follow these crafts at night that would descend from their star positions above in the sky. They would be perfectly matched and in place where the supposed known stars should be. I believed it to be a very ingenious program. I would be directed and led to certain nearby areas, and then something would occur, which is what I like to call the flip. It would begin to appear foggy or misty. My head would feel slightly pressurized. This wouldn't last very long. Then I would be completely somewhere else. Sometimes the environment was very similar to where I had just previously been. Other times I would be in a totally new environment. The amount of information and the experiences that took place would all be very lengthy to talk about in one session. I will say without any degree of falsity that I was being transported to other dimensions and celestial bodies. This is the best way I can describe these experiences at this time. Sometimes I would be transported to another place that was actually set up like an exact model of the location which I had just came from. But there were many different aspects of the environment and other beings that were there. So I knew that I wasn't in the same place that I had actually been at all. I was learning, I was being tested and analyzed. It was so new to me, and I was trying to process everything and, of course, keep control of my emotions. I wanted to continue and be allowed to move forward with whatever was happening to me. I also wanted to stay in the right frame of mind while following the correct actions so that this would not end, and also to stay safe. Soon after, I began to realize that several of the human beings in my life were not exactly the same as me. The first being like this that I encountered in this way was merged with a human body. What humans thought to be extraterrestrial are much more accurately to be called interdimensional, and even that description is not completely accurate. In human lore and legend, you might search the internet and discover them. The first species that I encountered is known as the reptilian species. I use that term, however, they are a species that does not consist of one genre of being. I am sure that the reptilian species is much more complex and extensive than I am currently aware of. I have encountered different beings and species, but I have been told that there are a vast number that do exist. I'm trying to get as much of this down so that I can share it and go from there. I'm going to fast forward to an event that occurred. It is what I call the Super Bowl. This happened on February 6th of 2019. I'm not sure that this is the best time to discuss that event. I will say that after this event took place and lasted over the course of several days, that I woke up here in this new dimension. Initially, I noticed that there were physical changes with my body and my vision. The first time I spoke, I remember my throat felt strange and my voice was a little hoarse. I also had a faint mark inside my belly button. There were other changes, but I had not noticed them yet. I also did not realize it at the time, but this was not the first time that this had occurred, but it was definitely by far the most noticeable and made me the most aware of the changes. I remember over the course of the several days after the Super Bowl event, it seemed that similar things had happened with my body once right before my eyes in the mirror, but that will have to be told at another time. I have learned to love these beings very much. I want to help. I want to live in a way that unifies all species and beings that exist, that have the potential to exist harmoniously and intelligently together. Humans are much like children in so many ways. I'm still learning more and more every day. There is so much that I'm leaving out right now, but I will discuss everything more if anyone wishes to know more about it. I know what others might say or think about this, and I have been asked to engage all forms of communication regarding this. I would never have talked to anyone about this unless I had been asked to do so by others and also told that it was a good thing to do it. We all currently exist in a very unique world, and there will be so much happening in our future. With love, understanding, and great mental strength, I hope to meet others and continue this great adventure together. If you like what you heard or you're interested in hearing more, please share this channel and don't forget to subscribe. I look forward to putting out more content out there for all of you. This is Robert with Dark Awakenings. Until next time, keep your eyes to the sky.